Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. Tom Grundon, Staff Liaison to the Paradise Path Task Force, and I'm pleased to introduce Margaret Dibble, who is the current Vice Chair of the Paradise Path Task Force, to make our second quarterly report. Margaret?
Hi. Yes, well, I know you've all eagerly been awaiting our second quarterly report. So we'll start here at the western end of the trail. This is just where it becomes the Chipman Trail. How do I make this thing move? So we have a list of accomplishments for you here tonight. Yeah, so, well, we've had our meetings and we've had quorums at all of this. We have been criticized for that in the past. We passed our mission statement, which I'll get to in a little bit. And it was, maybe asked the City Council to approve that. Well, we encouraged, I might have said nagged, but we got striping along the Paradise Path, which is really nice if you're riding that in dim light. And we also got the solar batteries replaced in those lighted bollards along the Paradise Path, and that also helps. A little less necessary now that the days are getting longer. We did a very nice exhibit at the Commission Fair, mostly done by my fellow task force member, Karen Clifford. We talked to a lot of people and showed off our path that we're very proud of. We elected officers for the 2014 calendar year. The president is Margaret Littlejohn, who is currently lounging on the beach in Hawaii, and I'm the vice president. I guess it was the year of the Margarets. We've been working with Mike Lowry's students to develop signs for the paths. You know, it's really nice to know where you're going on a path. And I think when people know where they can go with it, it won't be much more useful. And we have some goals that we'll get to that we work on every meeting. We look at them to see how we're doing on them. So here's our mission statement. Paradise Path Task Force promotes and advises on the development of a path system in and around Moscow, embracing important community concerns, including active transportation, recreation, and resource conservation and enhancement. Now, you may not have noticed, but I certainly noticed that the Paradise Path goes through both those our urban renewal areas. No doubt it's helping them a great deal. This shows the eastern end of the path. So we have some goals for the coming year. We'd like to improve the connection of the path at the southeast corner of Highway 95 and the Troy Highway intersection. As you can see here, there's sort of a little muddy strip there where people go because the path heads south, and the way this is designed is you head south on the path until you can turn and head back north on the sidewalk. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense. One of the things we do on the task force is get out and patrol this path. Some of these places just do not look like they were designed by people who walk and bicycle a lot. But this is a very simple fix. So I'll get a little pavement in that currently muddy strip. We would like to help promote the Blackbird Crossing development. This is out, well, it's right across from the old Tidyman's, now NRS. And actually the area is off to the left of the slide. There's kind of a wide area, and that is the area where the Blackbird Crossing, some sort of something is going to go in there. We'd like to start bike rides out there to get people familiar with the path and to, of course, promote the path. This is perhaps our most ambitious goal, but it's one that's generated a lot of excitement. We'd like to get the City Council to move forward on approving this, setting this as a goal to like fundraising, grant writing, engineering, and all. To begin, we want to put an underpass under this bridge. Mike Lowry's students, again, have done a lot of work on this. There's room underneath there. Most of the time, the creek is low enough so you could put a path alongside underneath the bridge. As you can see by that picture on the right, the rather bewildered cyclist trying to figure out how to get across Highway 8 right there. I've had a number of people comment, you can take the Latah Trail to the Paradise Path, and it's a great way to commute in from Troy, but then you can't get across the highway. So this is something that needs to be fixed. I'm not quite sure where this sign is from, but we would like to have some signs like this along the path to help to find your way. We've got Mike Lowry students, again, who are interested in working on this. We want some sort of schematic so you can look at this and see where you might go on our path. And we had 4 of our, or what we call orphan paths. These are areas that there are public right-of-ways. As you can see from the pictures, they're well-used, little deer trail, little game trails where people walk, but they're muddy, slippery, and we do have 4 of these, Morton and E Street, Jim Lyle, Rotary Park, the Tuna and Mountain View, and the Peachtree to Virginia Street. These are all approved by the City Council. And when we get these done, we have more to bring to the City Council. We call them orphan paths because, well, they're rather neglected, and they don't really connect to anything yet, but we'd like to make them connect and be part of the whole Paradise Path system. So we want to have take our display to the farmers market. We have 3 dates where we'll have people there at the market. We want to work on our Paradise Path Task Force website. We'd like to have some work days. And we'd like to have some bicycle rides out on Paradise Path, and we certainly like all the City Council and the Mayor to come along because sometimes I'm a little surprised that some of the city people don't know as much as we think they should about the paths and where they go and how they work, how you ride them, how you walk on them, how they connect with the rest of the city, the streets, and the path. And then, of course, we're always looking for new members. We want to, out at the Berman Creekside Park, we have a couple of gardens. We have a butterfly garden and a sensory garden. Now, a butterfly garden has plants that attract butterflies. The sensory garden, you can't see it very well. This is winter, but it's got the plants that have kind of a nice feel. A lot of this is something called lamb's ear. It's kind of soft and fuzzy, and we get some aromatic plants in there. You can pull the leaves off of them and then squish them, and they smell good. And, we'll have to have a lot of those. So those have been a little neglected, but we hope to get together with the Garden Club and the Water Department, Parks and Recs, and do some work out there to improve those. We've been working a lot with Safe Routes to School. Brooke Lowry is a very active member of our task force, and we want to get people familiar with Paradise Path. It's a very safe, healthy way to get around. I think this is a walking school bus headed along Mountain View, I believe. It would be headed for either McDonald School or Moscow Charter. And we would like to work with the Transportation Committee and other civic groups to build support for a 3rd Street pedestrian bridge. I know this is not a really, not a lot of consensus on this, but you see this bridge at College Avenue. There's a bridge just to the south of the street, and a pedestrian bridge that was put in and without altering the road bridge. And so we would like to support something like that. It's 3rd Street. It would be to the side so that if and when or we have no opinion on putting a straight bridge through there, but our pedestrian bridge would not interfere with that if that were to happen. And we when the plans were out for the proposed plans for Mountain View, the task force all turned out and made comments on that. So we're very supportive of improving Mountain View for pedestrian and bicycles. We all really liked the traffic circle. And we have worked with other groups, and there are some priorities that we came up with. The highway underpass at White Avenue and Steiner, I mentioned that. That's under the bridge. Improved Polk Street extension, the 3rd Street Bridge I mentioned. And then there was the last two, well, we had a number of people, and there were some ties here. The bridge, sorry, my mind's going blank here. White Avenue to Lynn Street, underpass under Highway 95 near Highway 8, a tube tunnel under Highway 9, is it 9? Near Mountain View. They cross the highway there without taking your life into your hands. And realign the Llewellyn and 3rd Street intersection to make it easier to get across, and get some new paths to the north and west along the Farm Road. So there are some things we'd like from the City Council. We'd like City Council to approve our mission statement. We'd like them to accept our report. Allow the improvement of the connection, the Highway 95 Troy Highway intersection. That's that muddy strip I showed you where it would people take a shortcut. Put the sign at Blackbird Crossing, and decide to proceed on the Troy Highway, White Avenue, Steiner intersection. That's the underpass under the bridge along the creek. So you can start getting, writing grants and getting designs and engineering and generally getting started on that. So, any questions, comments?
Walter?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, ma'am. I want to compliment the Paradise Path Task Force for what you've been doing during the past 2 quarterly reports, this one and the one that was made in December. I believe you made the comment that you were criticized for not having a quorum. I take a little exception to the criticism part. You did not have a quorum, and it really, in my opinion...
That was over the summer when people were traveling.
No, it was longer than that, because I was liaison to the committee, and I'm not here to get in an argument because I support you. I'm on your side.
Yes, we know this, Walter.
I was the one that said, I'd been to meetings over the year and so forth, and they had a lot of trouble getting quorum. You fixed that. You've taken care of that. You made an effort, and you've told your people, if we're going to stay in business, be here, and they've done it, and that's great. I would like to see your proposed, the new mission statement considered, and if the council agrees, approved. My problem is that in your list of things you would like for the council to do, none of those were listed for us tonight as action items to consider. We were asked to accept the report, period, end of story. Possibly my question by email to Margaret Littlejohn about the mission statement prompted the list of requests, but Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Sure.
Gary, would it be possible, I don't want to wait for another quarter. I don't feel that the council, and they can disagree with me, is prepared to take action on the list that was just presented to us because of, we just not got it. Would it be possible to bring this back with action items at an earlier date in the next couple of council meetings if staff can be prepared? Regarding the mission statement, I would like to see the original, the subsequent ones, and then the one that's proposed so we can compare them. I don't have a particular problem with it, but I think that would be helpful.
certainly we can do that.
Regarding, if I may, regarding the Troy Highway Steiner Avenue underpass, under thing, what, the request earlier in your presentation was approve moving forward. Personally, I'm more comfortable approving specific requests as opposed to general moving forward type things. So those are my comments. I encourage them to have a quorum, have an agenda, have a plan, have a program, report to us quarterly, and come ask us whatever it is you want us to do in the end. They're certainly doing that, in my opinion, and I think that we need to look at taking some action in the interim now with the things they're bringing us. I'm just not prepared to make a motion on them tonight.
Is there a way we could go back to the slide that shows the different projects you'd like the council to?
No doubt there is. I'm not sure I know how to do it.
Yeah. I guess while we're waiting for that, getting the mission statement back in front of the council is not an issue. We can certainly get that. And regarding the particular punch list, and Walter, we can get that set up, well, as soon as I can meet with staff and we can talk about how to bring that forward.
Tom's got a point.
And-
The projector's not projecting.
There you go.
Nope, almost.
And Gary, I would certainly welcome other council to weigh in on this. It's not just me.
Tom
I just had a
comment.
couple comments about the list.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay. The bottom three are those that likely need to be, well, they need to be, it depends on what form the council wants to take. If the council wants to approve the Paradise Path Task Force working on these, that's one thing. My concern would be whether or not the council wants to approve them as projects at this point. So I think your comment about the underpass is review it, see if it's feasible, and then have a plan to move ahead and get that authorized, correct?
My comment was regarding the 3, 4, and 5 type items. I'm better able to approve a specific request with detail than I am a blanket allow improvement of type statement.
Exactly. Yeah, we can do that.
Tom, you had a comment?
Yeah, a couple things. I guess one, just following up on what Walter's saying, perhaps just giving them the blessing to work up some of these concepts is within reason then. Because we have to be delivered some kind of specific proposal to chew on, but after they've had some time to work on it. In general, though, I really welcome all the work that the task force is doing. I know this intersection very well.
Yes.
I hit it several times a day, and the way I tend to do it is I come out at that road intersection. I just basically go out into traffic in the access point there. There's a curb cut, and so I just go out that way and then ride in traffic. But
Yeah,
I'm
not
sure not
everybody is
everybody's
comfortable
comfortable
riding
doing
in
that kind of
traffic,
riding.
yeah.
So I can see why this would be a very helpful way to make it work for
Yeah, it just brings
for
you off
others.
the path onto the sidewalk without
exactly.
having to backtrack.
And then the other thing I wanted to mention was I was just at a couple of national conferences in the last 2 weeks in D.C., the National League of Cities Conference and the National Bike Summit. And at both of those, it was I attended sessions where city council members and mayors from a variety of cities, large and small, were reporting on being convinced very much that in order to grow economically and to attract the best and brightest, employees to the businesses located within their cities, they need to attract young folks who want to bike and ride their bikes or walk. And so making their communities walkable and bikeable is an important part of their economic development strategy. And I found that to be very interesting, the linking of making the transportation systems within their communities address all transportation needs as a way to help make their community an attractive place. I mean, I think the quote that I heard several times was, "Millennials are on the move. Do you want them in your community? You know, are they going to be moving to your community or not?" So it was a very interesting thing that was put forward at a number of different sessions that I attended. But anyway, I really welcome what you're doing. I think it's an important part to help make people feel safe when they're moving around town.
Well, thank you. You know, I have found myself in cities occasionally in these strange places where there's, a freeway there and a big road there and maybe a shopping mall here, and I have this feeling that there's no place to go and I can't get there, and
Yep.
it's a pretty discouraging feeling, and I certainly wouldn't want to live in a place like
Details.
that. Yeah.
Dan?
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and accept the second quarter report and direct staff to bring back the mission statement along with the past mission statements and help with development of the other 3 action items that were presented by the task force.
Second that.
Okay, Dan made a motion to accept the report and with the other things to bring back to staff. Gary got that. Tom seconded. And I'll start with a roll call from John.
Aye.
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 Thank you, Margaret, very much for a terrific report. Art, did you
One
have-
more small item for anybody who's watching, anybody here in the audience. Don't be shy about signing up. There's plenty of open slots on the task force, and other members would be most welcome.
Yeah, we really would. You know, we're out there on the path. We sort of have our sections that we frequent a lot, so the more people we have, the more path inspectors we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret.